Okay, so let's look at the upload. Um, this is a little extra. We actually don't even need a servlet context. It has to do with logging, so we can ignore that. I'm going to set a maximum file size to 5 megabytes, which is simply 5 times 1024, which gives us 5K, and then that times 1024 again gives us 5 megabytes. So we're setting a file limit of 5 megabytes. These multi-part parsers, which comes from O'Reilly, and I don't know of any better way of doing it right now. I've been using jar file or library from O'Reilly for years. It has the functionality in it that you need for uploading data files. Files are sent from the browser to the server as what we call a stream of bytes, and are ultimately saved as a blob, binary large object, into the database. We need to have a long for the number of bytes, because the number of bytes could potentially exceed 4 billion, although we set up here it won't, but these generic libraries don't know that. So we have to use a long instead of an int. We could potentially get multiple files, so we're setting up an initial array and setting it to nothing to handle the multiple files, although I don't even think I'm using this anymore. Let's see. An index is also, I believe, an index for that array, which again I don't think I need. Email and full name we do because they're passing as parameters. Now, we have to look through essentially the parameters. Now, this is a little different because multi-part parser, multi-part basically means that you're going to get parameters of different parts. And one could be the traditional variable of this variable equals that. And the other is a file, what they call a file, but is actually a stream of bits, we call, or a very large variable contains a stream of bits. When we go through it, we need to check and see, is it a parameter? And if it's a parameter, is it one of the two parameters we're interested in? If it is, then we'll go through parsing the parts out as a parameter part to get the value, the string value, which if name is full name, then the string value will be whatever we typed in that field that says full name. Same thing with email. So if the parameter name is email, then we can go ahead and get that out. So it's a little different than request.getParameter. Although I think nowadays you actually can just use request.getParameter. The file part, if it's a file, then we're going to get different parts out of it as well. We have to break it into the different parts. So one being the file name, to get the file name. If they're assuming there is a file name, and there should be a file name if you're getting a file, this information is just for connecting to the database. We're creating a insert statement that will insert all the data into the database. And one of the things you'll see is we're going to put in there is the email, the full name, comments. The file bytes is a blob, binary large object. So if we go to our, I think it was the upload folder. It might be all in download now. Let's look at upload. We'll see that file bytes is a medium blob, which is about 16 megabytes, I think, if I'm looking at that correctly. Plenty big because our limit was 5 megabytes. So we actually could even say, we could even take a bigger file if we wanted to be nice. We could actually change megabytes to 15 or 16 megabytes. We could do, if we did this, it would now be 15 megabytes, and that's fine because the medium blob can take up to 16 megabytes and change. So we could be nice and make that 15 megabytes instead. You probably wouldn't want to take more than that. I mean, 15 megabytes, what are they uploading? Video? I mean, you ought to be able to, that's actually enough probably for a small amount of video, I think. So it should be plenty. These 15 minutes to upload to, let's see what we've got here. One of these here. Like here are some of the ones. These are, not even a megabyte. Some of the ones I do, these are These are the YouTube that go into YouTube, and you can see that's. Oh, I guess that is more than a megabyte, isn't it? That looks like that's almost a gigabyte. Am I reading that right? 843 KB. That's 3. Okay, yeah. So that definitely is way more. But 15 minutes of video. So you might let them upload a lot more. You can. If you look at it here, a long blob is that's 16 megabytes. That looks like that's 4 gigabytes. Is that right? Am I reading that right? So in size. Okay. Go back and look at this here. We upload. Then we got the connect information. We prepare the insert statement, and we have to take now we're creating a Java IO byte array output stream. So what this thing does is it creates an array, a special type of array that will hold the data, and then this num bytes equals fp, and remember this is the file part, dot write to a bytes. So what's happening is this file pointer right now holds the byte stream that's coming from the browser, and it simply is going to transfer all those bytes into an array, a special type of array for input-output purposes. And then it will, it's still there, but we won't use it anymore. And that type of array can be used with prepared statements, so that's why it's important to use it. We prepare the statement. Most of these are pretty typical. Set strings for the email and the full name and the file name. Set bytes will allow you to set raw bytes into a field. And in this case, it is the bytes from the file. So a bytes dot 2 byte array simply takes all those bytes, and it's a medium blob, so we can go, as long as this thing doesn't exceed 16 megabytes, we're good. And then you execute it, and that's about it. All there is to it. You're taking the bytes that you're getting from the browser, the byte stream from the browser, and you're putting it into a MySQL table. And that's how you can store. And you can store anything there. You can upload any file. I mean, you can upload pictures, anything. Any file that's less than 16 megabytes, you can upload. So let's see, the download here wasn't working. Is there any questions so far? So let's see how the download is supposed to work. Oh, okay, I see what the problem here. It's looking for our servlet that I renamed to lowercase d. See if that works. That might take it. That doesn't quite work. And I'm thinking that our servlet may not be set up correctly. Let me see. Yeah, no, I don't think it is. Okay, so this is probably what we need to do. Let's create it here. It's definitely a servlet, and we'll just rename it. If you create the servlet through download the Java already exists. Okay. Let's try that. URL pattern / download, okay. Okay, So what we need to do is take all this stuff. Actually, we need to do that.